Welcome to the Healing Room. I'm Dr. Evelyn Hart. Let's step into today's story with gentleness and honesty. Rose, I'm glad you're here today. Before we go anywhere, how are you feeling right now, just sitting in this chair?
Heavy. Tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. It's like my chest is carrying a secret weight all the time. Sometimes I forget about it for a few minutes and then it crashes back. If that weight could speak, what do you think it would say? It would say, you can't trust him. It would say, you were stupid to believe you were special. And maybe you're never going to feel safe again?
Those are very sharp sentences. Which one hurts the most when you hear it inside?
You're never going to feel safe again. Because safety was what I thought I had. For 30 years, I thought, whatever happens, at least we're solid. And now, even when he hugs me, part of me is tense, waiting. Waiting for what? For the floor to open again. For another secret. For another message that wasn't meant for me. Let's go back to that message for a moment. Not to torture you, just to understand. Can you tell me in your own words what happened? I had been away almost 5 months. Our son lives in another country and he needed help with his kids and his business. My husband and I agreed it made sense for me to go. We talked every day at first. Then his calls got shorter, less warmth, more, I'm busy, I'm tired, we'll talk tomorrow. I knew he'd lost his job. That hit him hard. He's always been the stable one, the provider. I told myself he's depressed. He's just withdrawn. Don't push him. When I finally came home, he was different. Thinner, distracted, kind, but far away, you know?
Like his body was there, but something in him stayed somewhere else?
Exactly. One evening, we were in the living room. His phone buzzed on the table. He was in the kitchen. I glanced over, just a reflex, and I saw the top of the message. It wasn't my name. And the words were, "Thank you for being there. I don't know how I'd survive this without you." My stomach dropped. That should have been to me. That's what I thought. I'm his wife. I've been with him through everything. And he was saying that to someone else.
What did your body do in that moment?
My heart started pounding so hard I could hear it. My hands went cold and hot at the same time. My legs felt weak. For a second, it was like the room got smaller. I wanted to pretend I hadn't seen it, but I couldn't. He walked back in and I just heard myself say, "Who was she?" How did he react? At first, he froze. And then he said, "It's no one, just a friend." I said, "Friends don't get messages like that from married men." He tried to say it was just someone who listened when he was low, when he lost his job, when I was away. "She helped me not fall apart," he said. I kept asking. I could see in his eyes there was more. Finally, he admitted. It had been going on for months. Messages, calls, late at night, deep talks, feelings. He said he almost went to see her once, but turned around. Hearing almost can sting nearly as much as I did. Yes, because in my head, almost means he imagined it. He thought about leaving. He thought about a life where I wasn't there. And I had no idea. He swears nothing physical happened, and I believe him most days. But whether it did or didn't, what my heart heard was he took what was ours and gave it to someone else.
That sounds like a very accurate description of emotional betrayal.
It felt like I suddenly became optional, replaceable. Like 30 years of marriage could be pushed aside with a few late-night phone calls.
When you think of that version of you, the one holding his phone and reading that message, what do you feel toward her?
My heart breaks for her. She looks so stupid. I remember standing there, shaking, and still wanting to protect him. I remember thinking, maybe I misunderstood. Maybe she's just a coworker. I wanted it not to be what it was. And at the same time, I'm angry at her. Angry that she didn't see it sooner. Angry that she trusted blindly.
So part of you wants to hug her, and part of you wants to scold her.
Yes, exactly.
If you could sit next to her now, instead of judging from far away, what would you want to tell her?
I'd tell her, you didn't do anything wrong. You loved the best way you knew how. You had the right to trust. You weren't stupid. You were loyal. And maybe I'd also say, this will hurt like hell, but you are going to survive it.
Those are powerful words, and they come from you. That means that underneath the pain, there is a part of you that believes this about yourself too.
I want to. Some days I do. Other days, I go back to if I'd been more attentive, more interesting, less tired, maybe he wouldn't have needed her.
Let's pause that thought and look at it carefully. Do you believe there is any version of you, more attentive, more energetic, more anything, that could justify him building a secret emotional relationship behind your back?
No. If I'm honest, no. Nothing makes that okay.
That's important. You can acknowledge that maybe there were gaps, loneliness, depression. Those are real. But the choice to cross a line was his, not yours. You didn't cause the betrayal by not being perfect.
I know that in my head, but my heart still feels not enough.
That's the gap we're working with. Head truth versus heart truth. Over time, repetition and lived experience help the heart catch up.
What makes it more confusing is that he really did change afterward. He found another job. He cut contact with her. He told me everything I ask. He gave me passwords. He checks in. He's kinder than he was before. And sometimes I look at him and think, now you become the husband I always wanted after burning me.
So there's gratitude and resentment living together.
Yes. I'm grateful he didn't double down and lie more. I'm grateful he chose to stay and repair. And I resent that I'm the one carrying the scar while he seems lighter because he confessed.
That imbalance is very real, and you're allowed to feel it. Often the person who betrayed feels relief after confessing, while the one who was betrayed starts the heaviest part of the journey.
Exactly. He says, I'm so glad it's all in the open now. We can move forward. And I'm standing there thinking, move forward from what? I just arrived at the explosion site.
That's a powerful way to put it. You are at the beginning of what he wants to call the end. No wonder your timing doesn't match.
So, how do I catch up? How do I get to where he is without pretending it didn't hurt?
You don't have to catch up to him. You have to honor your own pace. Healing doesn't happen in tandem just because you're in the same marriage. But we can give your heart structure so it doesn't feel like chaos.
What kind of structure?
Let's look at 3 pieces. What you feel in your body, what you tell yourself in your mind, and what you do in the relationship when it spikes.
Okay.
In your body, when the memory hits, where do you feel it first?
My chest, like a tight band, and my stomach, like it drops.
Next time you feel that band, I want you to name it, just in your head. Here is the band. Here is the drop. Then add 1 sentence. This is my body remembering. I am in today, not in that day. You don't have to believe it fully yet. Just say it.
This is my body remembering. I am in today, not in that day. I can try that.
In your mind, we want to challenge the story, I'll never be safe again. Not with fake positivity, but with accuracy. Can we reword it to something like, right now, I don't feel safe, but I am learning how to build safety again. That sounds kinder. And in your relationship, when a wave hits and you want to withdraw or attack, could you try saying 1 honest sentence to him instead? Something like, I'm having a wave. I need you to sit with me, not fix me.
I've never said it that clearly. I usually just go cold or make a sarcastic comment or cry alone in the bathroom.
That's understandable. You were protecting yourself. But now that he is trying to show up differently, we can invite him into your process. That doesn't mean trusting blindly. It means letting him offer comfort in small ways and seeing if he's consistent.
I'm scared to need him because needing him is what hurt me last time.
That's very honest. Maybe we don't start from, I need you. Maybe we start from, I will allow you to be present while I feel this. You're not dependent. You're allowing support.
That feels a little safer.
Good. We'll build from there. Rose, I want to pause here. We've opened a lot today. The message, the shock, the unfair timing, the not enough story, and the fear of safety. How are you feeling right now after naming all this?
Raw, but understood. It still hurts, but it hurts in a way that feels less crazy. Like, okay, this makes sense. Of course I feel this way.
That's an important shift. When your pain feels understandable, you no longer have to fight it and judge yourself for having it. Are you okay to continue a bit more, or would you like us to rest here for today?
I can go a bit more. I think I want to talk about the other woman. I hate that she lives in my head. We'll go there next. I'm here with you. You said she lives in your head. What does that look like for you?
I imagine everything I don't know. Her face, her age, how she dresses. I picture her saying the right things when he was depressed, when he lost his job, when I was away. I imagine him feeling seen by her. I imagine them laughing at messages while I was helping our son with the kids. And then I start comparing her versus me. And of course, in my head, she always wins. In your mind, she becomes the perfect comfort, and you become the tired wife. Yes, and I hate that because I know I did nothing wrong by helping our son. I did what any mother and grandmother would do. But still, part of me whispers, if you hadn't gone, maybe this wouldn't have happened.
That's the voice of hindsight. It pretends you could have controlled his choices by sacrificing more of yourself.
That sounds unfair when you say it out loud, but that's exactly what it feels like.
Let's try something. I'll say a sentence, and you tell me how it lands. He could have reached out to me and told me he was drowning. Instead, he chose a secret lifeboat.
That's painfully accurate. He didn't even try to tell me how bad it was. He said he didn't want to worry me. But lying to me didn't protect me. It just delayed the pain.
Exactly. Hiding struggles to protect the partner is often just avoiding vulnerability. It feels easier in the moment, but it costs more later. So, what do I do with this picture of her? Let's first put boundaries on what you actually know and what your mind is inventing. What you know. She exists. They talked often. He leaned on her emotionally. He almost went to see her, but didn't. He ended contact and chose to stay. What your mind is inventing, that she is better than you, that he loved her more deeply, that you are replaceable, that if you were more, he would never have looked her way.
Yes, those parts are stories. Really loud stories.
Stories written by pain, not by facts. We don't have to pretend you don't hurt, but we can stop giving her more power in your head than she had in reality. How? Every time you catch yourself imagining her, I want you to interrupt with this sentence. She is not the author of my life. Then bring to mind something that is truly yours, a memory with your children, your grandchildren, a moment when your husband looked at you with regret and love, a value you have.
She is not the author of my life. I like that. It shifts the focus.
Good. Now, let's talk about another layer you mentioned before, shame. You said you feel ashamed that this is now part of your story and ashamed that you stayed.
Yes. If this were just a random movie, I'd probably say she's brave for choosing to stay and work through it. But when it's me, I feel weak. Like people would say, she has no self-respect.
Do you respect yourself?
I I want to. I'm learning to. But sometimes I feel like I'm betraying myself by staying.
Let's be very clear. Staying is not automatically self-betrayal, just like leaving is not automatically strength. Strength is doing what is most honest and healthy for you with open eyes, not from fear.
So if I'm staying because I love him and I see him changing and I value our family and I also know I have a right to my pain, that can still be strength?
Yes, strength is staying and doing the work, not staying and pretending it never happened. And that's exactly what you're doing here.
That helps. It makes me feel less like a fool.
You are not a fool, Rose. You are a woman who chose to believe in repair. That's not foolish. That's courageous.
Sometimes I also feel guilty for how I was before. I wasn't perfect. I could be cold. I could be critical. I shut down when we fought. I feel like I helped create the distance, and then he filled it with someone else.
It's healthy to see your side of the pattern. You can say, there were things I wish I'd done differently. But that's different from, it's my fault he betrayed me. The first is responsibility. The second is self-blame. Only the first one leads to growth.
So I can own my part without taking his?
Exactly. You can say, I see how I contributed to the disconnection, and I am working on that. And also, he is responsible for the choice to betray trust, and he is working on that.
That feels balanced.
How does he respond when you have a bad wave, when it all crashes in again?
Mostly, he tries to be patient. He apologizes. He holds me if I let him. Sometimes he gets tired and says, "How long will this go on?" And that hurts because I'm thinking as long as it needs to. You started this fire. I'm still walking through it.
That's understandable. You might need to set a gentle boundary about that. Something like, when you ask how long this will take, I feel pressured to heal fast. I need you to understand that my pace is not a punishment, it's a process.
That's a good sentence. I might write it down.
Please do. Rose, if you look at your life, not only as the woman whose husband emotionally cheated, but as a whole story, what else is true about you?
Thinking, I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother. I'm someone my children call when they don't know what to do. I'm the one who held this family together through sickness, moves, money problems. I'm someone who cares deeply, sometimes too deeply.
When you speak like that, I hear a strong, steady, loving person, not a broken one.
I don't always feel strong, but when I look back, I have survived a lot.
Exactly. This is not the first hard chapter you've walked through. It may be one of the most painful, but you're not new to resilience.
Resilience. That's a word people like to use when someone hasn't had the choice to rest.
True. And now I want your resilience to include rest. Rest from blaming yourself, rest from obsessing over her, rest from trying to heal on a deadline.
I'd like that.
Before we move to closing, I'd like us to do something together, a short inner dialogue. I'll invite you to speak to 3 people, to him, to the other woman, and to yourself. We won't send these words anywhere. They're just for your heart.
Okay, I'll try.
First, to him. In just a few sentences, what do you want him to truly understand about your pain?
I want him to understand that it wasn't just messages, it was my reality crashing. I want him to know that I still wake up some nights and feel like I'm falling, and that even though I chose to stay, I did not choose what he did, that I'm trying, really trying, to see him as safe again.
Good. Now to the other woman. You don't have to be polite. You just have to be honest.
I want to tell her, you didn't have the right to step into my place, even emotionally. You didn't have the right to be his comfort in secret. But you also don't get to own my story. You are not more powerful than 30 years of my life. You're not the main character here. And I release you. I don't want you living in my head anymore.
That was strong. Now to yourself. To the Rose who lived through all of this.
Rose, you did not deserve this. You were loyal. You were loving. You were trying your best with what you knew. You are allowed to hurt, and you are allowed to heal. You are not stupid for staying. You are not weak for still loving. You are allowed to build something new from the same pieces or different ones. You are more than what happened to you.
Good. How does it feel to say that?
Like, part of me believes it, part of me is still catching up, but it feels good. Like giving myself a blanket instead of more stones.
That's a beautiful image. No more stones, more blankets, more gentleness. As we come to a close today, I want to give you 4 short sentences to carry with you this month. Tell me how they land. This is my body remembering. I am in today, not in that day. She is not the author of my life. My pace of healing is not a punishment, it's a process. I am not weak for staying. I am brave for facing the truth and still choosing.
I like them. They feel like anchors. I think I need anchors.
You deserve them. How do you feel right now compared to when you walked in?
Lighter. Not healed, but less alone, less crazy, more human.
You are completely, beautifully human. And you are not alone in this. Would it feel okay if I said a few words, not just to you, but to anyone who might be listening to a story like yours?
Yes, I'd like that.
To anyone listening who has felt the sting of betrayal, your pain makes sense. Your confusion makes sense. Your anger, your numbness, your tears, all of it makes sense. You are not foolish for having trusted. You are not weak for still loving. You are not broken beyond repair. Healing is not about erasing what happened. It is about refusing to let one chapter define the whole book. You are allowed to take your time. You are allowed to set boundaries. You are allowed to stay or to leave or to stand still for a while until you know what you need. Most of all, you are allowed to believe that your heart can feel whole again, not because the past was small, but because you are bigger than what hurt you.
Thank you for saying that. I think I needed to hear it as much as anyone listening.
I'm glad, Rose. You're doing brave, quiet work. We'll keep walking this path together, one honest session at a time. Thank you for being with us. See you next time.